guess my second video blog for a 12-step space. If you read my previous text entry, you know that I have recently experienced some difficulties with my fellowship, my local fellowship, most specifically with my home group, and I felt it kind of necessary, since I came here and more or less, dropped my mess in my blog, to kind of come and present some of the resolution that I've come to so far with it also. So here's what I'm doing, I guess, is probably the best way to go about that. I've decided that it's time for me to change home groups. The home group that I've had for the last 2 years and change has been hugely helpful to me. They've been great, they've been wonderful, but for me to be of greatest service to the fellowship, and for me to be of best service to the new people, it's time for me to move on to somewhere else where what I have to offer fits in better, because I just what I have to offer, the message that I carry, just is not in congruence with what they've got going on over there. So it's all good. They help me get sober. I'm sure they will help others. I'm just gonna have to move on to somewhere else, so it's all good. I had a long talk with a friend yesterday who's been in recovery for a long time, a little over 18 years, and who he's got a really good perspective on things, and he thinks about things before he gives any kind of any of his perspective on it. He's not just giving me some pre-recorded, pre-decided answer on things. So it's good, and it's good to have a guy like that in my life who I feel like cares about me as an individual, but I also know cares very deeply about the fellowship. So it's a good thing to have, and it's good to have somebody who has that kind of balance to be able to turn to. And kind of what has come out of that conversation has been that for the past year or so, I've been struggling a lot with this idea that because I'm just a little more than, just about 3.5 years sober, that I am being arrogant in kind of asking my home group and the fellowship as a larger entity, what can we do better? And that's been tough in a lot of ways, because it can definitely put me in some tough positions, but I kind of feel like, as a responsible member of the fellowship, that I have to do that, and I feel like that really, for me at this point, is the right thing to do when I feel like it's the right thing to do it, and I can't be afraid of that. And his point was kind of like, maybe it is a little bit arrogant, but if it is arrogant, you learn the lessons that you need to learn from that. But at the same time, that's a question that should be asked, and there's no reason that you can't be the guy who asks it. So that was comforting to hear from somebody whose perspective I admire and respect, and so that's kind of given me some more freedom, and I guess in the long run, that's what this whole thing is about, is freedom, getting free of the things that weigh us down in life, and being able to handle them in the best way. And I guess that's kind of what I'm coming to, is that I have to be able to sleep at night. I have to be able to lay my head on my pillow at night and be okay with my conscience. And my conscience really kind of says that I need to do what's right to feel like I'm being a responsible member of the fellowship. And that plays a huge part in my life, and it also tends to be the place where I for me, recovery has definitely been an experience of learning certain lessons within the fellowship itself, and then taking those lessons out into the other areas of my life. So this is just hopefully another lesson that I'll be able to take out into the rest of my life, the rest of my affairs, as the 12-step calls them. It's also been over the last year, it's become so clear how important the traditions are, and that the 12 steps are absolutely essential for my personal recovery, but that for me to interact successfully and contribute as well as I can, that the traditions are such a good guide for that. Those are things that I need to continue to learn more about, and to continue to keep in my perspective and in the forefront of my mind, while I'm dealing not only with the fellowship but also kind of with the outside world, and that the lessons that I learn related to the traditions can help me in so many more ways. So I'm feeling right now a whole lot better. Kind of, if you read the previous blog, there was a whole lot of resentment there. So that's taken care of at this point. That's more or less gone, and I know that my part in that was really selfishness, in a way that I was expecting. I was expecting that group and the people in that group to be something that they're not, and I that's not fair to them. So I was expecting them to meet my expectation, and that's not, it's just not the way it is. It's all good. I'm kind of considering another guy has been a guy that I got that he's been in recovery about 2 months longer than I have. We've come through the fellowship together and been in the fellowship together since the beginning. He's been talking to me about starting a new group, and so I'm getting pretty solid on that idea, and thinking maybe that's the way to go for me, that we can get together and start a group, and I'll make that my home group, because our perspectives are close enough that we'd be able to work together, but varied enough that we'd be able to offer a lot, I think, to a group in general. And kind of getting a group started in that beginning, where it's just kind of the guidance that it begins with, and then it'll turn into its own thing, hopefully, as a home group forms there. So we'll see what happens. That may happen, it may not. I'm with this kind of new freedom that I'm feeling, I'm a lot more excited about the district chairperson's position, because I feel like it'll be a good opportunity for me to be of service to the fellowship. And it's really good for me at this point to be involved with the fellowship at a larger level, or just a different level than the group is probably the best way to put it, because in the organizational structure, the district is below the group, but that's good. It's just a good thing for me, and I think I probably can do some good, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm just I'm back at a place where I'm looking forward to a lot of different things, and that I know that God has just given me so many opportunities and put so many possibilities in my life, that I when I come to these places and I'm reminded of that fact, that it's like I never know what's going to come down the line. I never know what kind of possibilities and opportunities are going to come up, and so far they've been really nothing but good. And every time I come through a tough situation or a tough time, when I'm a little bit worked up or torn up about things, I find a new freedom on the other side. I come out on the other side, and I'm more free than I was before it started. And so that's just a great thing to be reminded of, and it just gives me that much more hope and that much more optimism, and it just makes me look so much more forward to the future, and it helps me. That then helps me to have that much more enthusiasm for today and what I can do today. So, those things are great. It's great stuff. And that, I know that the district chairmanship, first of all, will be a huge opportunity to grow, because I have a lot to learn about that stuff. And luckily, I have some really great people to turn to. The gentleman who was the previous district chair has been sober like 25 or 30 years, something that to me at this point seems absolutely ridiculous. But he's been sober a long time, and he's been involved in service work the whole time, and had been involved in the service structure in different ways. And I'll turn to him as often as I need to, and I know that he'll be a great resource. And there's another gentleman around the fellowship who is kind of our local AA historian in a way, and I know that he'll be a great resource, and he's always just a whole lot of fun to talk to, and this will kind of give me even more opportunity to seek him out, and seek out his perspective and guidance on some things. So, this is just a win-win situation all around at this point. So, I get angry, and kind of my first response a lot of times with things, I think a lot of times when I'm presented with an opportunity for a new freedom, it's kind of a frightening thing, because I have so poorly handled freedom before. I think that really the element of keeping in contact with the God of my understanding is so hugely important in those times, and also being willing to do what I feel is God's will for me. It's an interesting thing that there seems to be this very overall idea of God's will, and I absolutely believe that God's will is for us to help others. And it's interesting that it seems to be at this point, one of the things that I'm learning is that God has different ideas for each of us, specifically how to be helpful and what to do, and so one of the big things that I'm learning is that I have to follow that, and I have to be aware of that, and that when I don't, I suffer, because I think God's been kind of trying to tell me here for probably almost a year now, like, hey buddy, come on over here, let's put down the shiny object and come back over here, and this is what I've got for you to do. And when you do it, or when you start doing it, boom, there's that new freedom again. And so, it's just a wonderful thing, and it's great to be able to come to these things and to pass through them and be able to find this another new level of contentment with myself and the fellowship and the world at large. So just wanted to stop in and let you guys know. If you read my previous blog, no, I'm not completely losing my mind. I've now come back to reality and come back to doing what I know I'm supposed to do, and doing what I know I do best. So if you're out there and you're listening, thanks a lot. The fact that there's people out there who A, are willing to listen, and B, who are other people walking shoulder to shoulder on this journey is a huge help. So thanks a lot.